Ready? 5, 4. Hello, Cryptonauts, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. I'm your host, Blockchain John, along with my co-hosts, Jake and Mike. How's it going, you guys? Salute to you
Pretty
guys.
Good.
Nice to see you guys back on the podcast.
Yep, pretty good.
All right, awesome. Today we have Shaun and Keith. We're going to talk about Dynamo, the Dynamo coin. It's a brand new cryptocurrency token that was just developed by Shaun. Shaun, hello.
How's it going?
Very well. Keith, hello. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, good evening, John.
Fantastic. And you guys are currently in Eastern time, right? So I don't want to take too much of your time because I'm on the Pacific. It's still daylight. It's still really nice out here. It's very warm out here. I don't know how's the weather out there for you guys.
What is warm? What we don't even know what warm is. We can read this ad, John.
Yes,
Over here, it's like the mid 90s right now. That's warm.
that's warm.
Lucky it's 103 here.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's insane. I heard you guys got some bad weather out there on the East Coast.
I think
Not too bad.
Yeah, we clocked a high of 48 degrees on Saturday. Not exactly a rousing Memorial
high?
Day weekend. That was the high.
Jeez, man.
But on the flip side, we love it for our Ethereum mining because we don't have to cool all our rigs. So,
Right.
you know.
I know. I gotta have an
So-
AC unit on and fans blowing around my room just to try to keep
Yeah.
the heat out.
Every time I go outside, I say, "Oh, I love the cold." So my kids think I'm crazy, but I love the cold now. So.
Yeah. But how do you do your barbecues? Are you all suited up, from head to toe with winter clothing? So over here we get to wear shorts and tank tops. Yeah.
It's called catering, John. It's called catering.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Shaun, before we get started, I always like to properly get to know my guest for the first time, because this is technically your first time on the podcast. Same thing with you, Keith. And I always like to get to know who the person is that's first time on the podcast before they got to the point where they're at now, which for you guys, it's both working on Dynamo Coin. But I want to head back in time. What were you doing way before you even heard about cryptocurrency, aka Bitcoin? I mean, I'm talking way back. So Shaun, let's go ahead and start with you.
Sure. So I've been a developer for about 30 years. I've been a consultant for, I can't even remember how many different companies. I worked, my last 3 jobs were in executive IT management roles. I was a chief technology officer at Merrill Lynch, in charge of all of their corporate technology initiatives. So things like risk, compliance, tax, investor relations, all those kinds of things. I did that for about 7 or 8 years. I moved on to a role as an IT director at a fintech startup. I did that for about 7 or 8 years. And then my most recent role, before I resigned from that role in December of 2019, I was the chief technology officer for a credit card company. And I built all of their internal systems, things like all the KYC and AML. I mean, everything. I was responsible for all the technology, but things like a mobile app, the website interface, all the payment processing, all those kinds of things. So I have a lot of deep experience, a lot of technical experience, and I'm a programmer on a daily basis. So I've been heavily involved in fintech for a very long time, and I became interested in Ethereum just last year, actually, and crypto in general. And so for the last 7 or 8 months, I've kind of been living and breathing crypto. But prior to that, I was just a professional IT manager.
Nice. So you definitely know the ins and outs of Dynamo Coin.
If you look at the GitHub repo, I am doing all the commits. So I am writing the C++ code and doing all the programming. Yep.
We got some
Absolutely.
background noise out there. Somebody's
cheering. They're cheering for me.
Can the rest of you guys mute your microphones, please? Perfect. All right. Keith.
Yeah, sorry about that, John. Yeah.
All right, Keith. How about yourself? How did you get introduced into? No, let's go a little further back. What were you doing before you heard about Bitcoin, aka cryptos?
All right, so let's rewind the tape. I was president of a retail technology firm, actually presently still am, specializing in hardware and software aimed at retail efficiencies. This was kind of critical as retail tried to find its footing and counter the competitive challenges of the rise of e-commerce. So there was a huge need to basically import technology into what's known as the brick and mortar world, and basically capitalize on this whole move to omni-channel retail. So over the years, we had become really, really proficient in that space. Had known Shaun for many years, and we just started collaborating on projects within that space. And credit to Shaun, we're always looking, obviously, for the next big thing, the next technology to come over the horizon. And he had picked up on, crypto very, very early on, over the horizon, and brought it to the table as something that, we should explore in a serious way, in a deep way. And of course, Shaun, took the project, made it his own, put his own stamp and spin on it, and brought a really unique perspective to Dynamo Coin. And that kind of brings us to where we are now.
Nice. So Shaun, Keith, how long have you guys known each other? You said, Keith, you said for years, but what is years? Like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Are you guys neighbors?
I would say, Shaun, like an easy 5, no?
Well, I would even more than that. So we met because our mutual families went to a private school in Tuxedo, New York, which was close to 10 years ago. And what was interesting was we both have 4 children, and our children interleaved each other. So, ours, yeah. mine was in 5th, his was in 6th, mine was in 7th, his was in 8th. And so we actually never were able to get into different parent cohorts that were meeting each other. But at the larger community groupings, we were like, oh, you know what, we should talk to those guys, because they're like one of the very few people who are sending 4 kids to private school, which, I mean, in all honesty, is a very large financial commitment, right? And that's sort of a testament to how you feel about your family and what you're willing to commit. And there were very few other people who had, I can't even think if there were any other families that had 4 kids.
I don't think so.
Right? And so we were really the only 2 families in the private school that had 4 kids, both. And we just really didn't ever intersect, because our kids, again, were just interleaved. But about so we've known each other, let's say, for 10 years, but just on a casual basis.
Right.
Yeah. And then we, about 3 years ago, we're like, dude, we should just get together. Like, let's, we never hung out. And then it just, it clicked, and, and we found that it was an incredibly synergistic, meeting of the minds. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it was really special, John. I mean, I'll tell you, we had done, the timing of it, of course, just overlaps with the emergence of COVID, and that whole experience, which thrust, the adoption of technologies into the retail universe in a way where, the running joke is they all onboarded 7 years of development and evolution in 7 months. And it was true. And, Shaun was able to collaborate, together with us to impact and touch thousands and thousands of stores, over the last 2 years, in a really big way, not only financially impactful to the businesses, but, help keeping their frontline staff safe, customers safe. So really did a lot over these last few years together. But yes, we almost never connected, which is a bit ironic.
But we're at this point now where you guys did connect to create Dynamo Coin. So I'm currently looking at the dynamocoin.org website. For the cryptonauts out there listening, you can head over to dynamocoin.org and check out anything and everything on Dynamo. It's all here, all the links. The website's really nice. And on here, the front page, first page that we're looking at, it says Dynamo is a crypto democracy. Keith.
I was going to say, Shaun, that is your baby. I'm not stealing your thunder. No,
all right. I wanted to go with the alternative, but okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shaun.
So where did that come from? Right. So I originally became very involved in Ethereum. I was very interested in mining Ethereum and becoming part of the ecosystem and steering the ship and all that kind of stuff. And so I tried to get on to Ethereum Magicians. I tried to figure out what it would take to, make a commit on the GitHub repo, everything else. I found very quickly that, the Ethereum is a corporate run project. There are basically 3 companies that run Ethereum, and those people hire developers to work full time on running Ethereum. No individual developer can ever contribute to Ethereum. But despite anything they say about decentralized, anything they say about community development, all that is utter, bullshit, right? Like it is not decentralized.
I'm currently shaking my head for the listeners out there. I'm shaking my head because I completely agree with you.
It's sad. It's so sad.
It's one of those truths that just don't get talked about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it couldn't be more spot on. Like that's not even really opinion. It's pretty much a fact.
No, well, if you look at all the contributors and you look at who the Ethereum cat herders are and who are actually making and who's controlling the EIPs, it's very obvious, right? So there's it's not decentralized, it's utterly centralized. So I threw up my hands. I said, obviously, I'm not going to contribute to this project. I went to literally 4 other projects. I spent many, many hours in their Discords, downloading their code, analyzing all this stuff. I looked at 4 other projects. Everything I found was the same. I found there were these, couple of evangelists who created the project, probably had gigantic bags, of coins and completely controlled it. And I said, you know what? This is stifling innovation. There should be a coin that allows for community innovation, true democracy, true consensus governance. And so how do we do that? We should build on-chain governance, make it so that anyone who holds the coin can make a proposal and have it be approved by the community, and then have a ministerial foundation that is chartered with making that change. So if somebody says, hey, you know what, this yellow logo is ugly, we should make it green, somebody who owns coins can make that proposal. If everybody votes on it who holds coins and it passes, then the foundation, which is funded by the community, is authorized to pay some developer to go do that. That is, in my view, what crypto, the promise of crypto is. True community development, right? Not a couple of elite people who decide that it should be yellow or green, but the community driving it. And so that was, it was my, for lack of a better word, disgust with so many different projects that were so centralized that I wanted this project to be completely decentralized. And you will see in all of our, if you look at our offering terms, this is one of the most fair, I would say the most fair offering that you can ever see. There's no pre-mine, there's no private equity, there's no dev fee, there's no 1 trillion coins and bullshit burned and all this kind of stuff. We launched this, and on day 1, anyone could mine it. There's nothing that we're putting in our pocket. This is everyone's coin. So I felt, and I still feel very strongly about that this is a community-driven coin, because I think that the community and their consensus can make more innovation than just a couple of elitist developers who think they know better than anybody else.
Love that. Love that. I love the enthusiasm. Love it.
Slash and soapbox.
So I'm going to read the description here. It says Dynamo is a technology and governance framework that allows anyone to meaningfully contribute to the ecosystem. The Dynamo engine powers native, on-chain, totally decentralized P2P transactions with no intermediaries. The Dynamo blockchain is secured by a hybrid proof of work miners and proof of stake miners. Now that's interesting. Shaun, I want to ask you, what do you mean by hybrid proof of work and proof of stake? If you can explain what you mean by that.
Of course. So proof of work, as we all know, is the mining, solving the cryptographic puzzle before anyone else. So you have a whole room full of GPUs that are trying to get the block solved and submit it for proof of work. That has its benefits, but as we all have seen, there is an an ecological impact to that, right? That is a power consumer. And so there is the other side of the coin that says, oh, let's do proof of stake, right? Proof of stake says, I have so many coins in my bank that I would not do anything bad to the network. But that leads to its own centralization issues. And there is this thing called nothing at stake attack vector, which basically says that proof of stake miners can mine unlimited coins on their own chain without any risk. So if you look at nothing at stake, there is a technical argument for proof of stake being not a great solution. When you have proof of work and proof of stake, it becomes almost impossible to compromise the network. And it is much more ecologically friendly. Plus, if I recently published a Medium article that shows that script-based proof of work algorithms are much lower power. So when you run the Dynamo proof of work algorithm on your GPU, it will use about 10% of the energy that the Ethereum proof of work algorithm uses. So this is a very energy efficient proof of work algorithm. So the hybrid of those things allows for maximum security with very low energy usage.
Okay, so sorry to jump in here, Shaun. Yeah. I've got questions.
Of course.
I am an ETH miner. I own an ETH mining farm that I don't mine for myself. I mine for customers. Mm-hmm. And of course, before I know that you were doing a combination of proof of stake, proof of work, I was like, well, if you were proof of stake only, then of course you fall victim to the possibility of somebody with just gargantuan sums of money coming in and basically just staking the whole thing.
Yep.
But then you're saying, well, proof of work. I said, well, what about people who with gargantuan sums of money who come in and stake a large amount and have a lot of mining equipment? Can they 51% attack your coin?
No. So by my estimate, it's about 87% of the network. You would need to own 51% of the hashing power and 67% of the staking power. And so if you owned all of that and you hacked the network, so to speak, it would not be worth it for you because the coin would then be completely compromised. So from an economic standpoint, it just doesn't make sense.
It would be impractical. It wouldn't actually be a good idea to own all that because you'd be shooting yourself in the foot.
You would basically destroy your own equity in the coin. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Now I will say also that I'm going to introduce a third component to that with my NFT implementation, which is very hot off the press. But I've been doing a lot of thought about NFTs. And we're going to implement NFTs in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to introduce a third component to the mining reward, if you will, which is proof of storage. And so if you, as a full node operator, agree to store the entire NFT asset compilation, if you will be eligible to claim a proof of storage reward every day. And so there will be like actually a third sort of security component, which will make it even more decentralized.
Oh, my ears just perked on that one. I would definitely like to get into that storage mining.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was waiting for Mike to respond. I knew he was going to say.
Yep. So what we're aiming to solve is the you know, a lot of these other NFT based chains rely on IPFS, which requires people to pin certain things, which, as we all know, you know, people do and don't pin things. This says as long as one full node has the entire database stored, then your NFT, the actual asset, whether it's an MP3 or a JPEG or whatever it is, as long as your full node is still operating, that original asset will be available for retrieval. And I think that's very important for NFT authors because IPFS is a very kind of sketchy, platform to host your stuff on. So, so proof of storage is going to actually be a third dimension that we're going to introduce.
And that's going to be all built in within the Dynamo blockchain. Is that correct?
It is, and we're making the NFTs smart contract aware. So if you as an NFT author wants to anonymously and trustlessly auction off your NFT asset, you can do that on our blockchain because it's all stored within our blockchain. You don't have any third-party reliance.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yep. A royalties contract would be really great too.
Yep. So if you say, hey, I want to do an MP3 and I want to sell it for this very small micro transaction. If you want to listen to it and download it yourself, you can do that in a smart contract. Absolutely. Yep. And we will be in the next 2 to 3 weeks posting examples of smart contracts that support auctions, lotteries, and like you said, this kind of royalty. I want to listen to your MP3 for 10 cents, right? How do I do that? Oh, I can gain access by listening to a little clip of it. Cool. Let me hop on this website and give you 10 cents. And then I can download it myself forever in a trustless and anonymous way and self-executing on the contract on chain.
I don't want to derail. John, do you have other questions? Because I have a question I want to pose to Shaun.
Go ahead.
Shaun, you know about Hedera Hashgraph, right?
I do, yes.
So how would you compare yourself, or not yourself, but your coin, pardon me, to Hedera?
So I think those guys are looking at scalability by, embracing forks, right? They're saying, hey, if we fork the blockchain, that's okay. Like we're going to support all the graphs that fork it. I think those guys are more looking at transactional volume rather than what we're talking about is more smart contracts. So we're more in the space of Ethereum, Conflux, Decred, like those kind of guys who are doing consensus governance, not so much Ethereum, but the people who are trying to do on-chain voting and those kinds of things, as opposed to like being a currency necessarily. So I'm not sure, like Hashgraph is probably that's a different solution set, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. Then the follow-up question to that, if I'm sorry to mention earlier, is how does it lend itself into staking and pooling? Now, I mean pooling by the one thing that I've been talking to the guys with Pool Together since they started almost. And I was trying to get someone to do, and I'm not a programmer at that level, a Pool Together, what's it called, price linked savings account in Binance Smart Chain. Obviously, you guys are on BEP20. So does Dynamo lend itself to that concept?
It does, and let me clarify the BEP20 integration. Our BEP20 offering is probably one of the most unique offerings that there are, because we did not create 1 quadrillion tokens and then burn and all this other bullshit and do airdrops, right? We did not do any of that sort of scammy stuff, right? Our BEP20 token is backed 1-for-1 by actual Dynamo coins in the Dynamo Foundation treasury. So at the end of our BEP20 marketing, whenever that is, whenever we get listed on exchange or we start to exchange coins ourselves, which we are actually going to build our own exchange. So whenever that happens and there is liquidity created outside of the BEP20 universe, whoever the holders are of the BEP20 tokens, they are going to be exchanged 1-for-1 with actual Dynamo mainnet tokens, right? So there's a Dynamo mainnet that's ongoing, and then there's this BEP20 market that I've personally funded out of my own money, right? I put about, I don't know, $7,000 or $8,000 into that right now, and I'm putting another, I don't know, $500 or $600 a day into it to create liquidity, right? That market will be shut down and exchanged 1-for-1 with Dynamo. So our offering on the BEP20 is a little bit different. And really what I did with the BEP20 was to understand about price discovery. I wanted to understand what people thought this was worth. My own personal impression was it was between 50 cents and $1. It's ended up at like 68 cents. So I think, like that was kind of vetted out. But as far as that thing is concerned, that's strictly a way to get early adopters in the door to say, hey, you know what? I want exposure to Dynamo. What's an easy way to do that? You can go buy the BEP20. As far as staking is concerned, we will absolutely allow pooling of staking. So there will be staking pools, which can be sponsored initially by the Dynamo Foundation. But our thought is we are going to create templates, right? We want to create business templates. Here's how you do this thing. Some third-party commercial entity come in, grab our thing, and do it better. We don't want to do that, right? We want to run the blockchain. So we want to facilitate third-party integrators to do this thing. We'll give you the reference implementation. You do it better, right? You guys know better than us. We're blockchain developers. So yes, there will be pooled staking for sure. And we'll show people how to do it, but we expect other people to do it better than us.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in regards to proof of work, that's currently what you have going on with Dynamo. From my understanding, proof of stake is still not implemented as of right now. Correct, Shaun?
Yeah. So the concern with proof of stake was that if there was too few coins in circulation, that you could have a lot of centralization. So I wanted to let it go for about 6 months. It was kind of arbitrary. We have a 15-second block time, and the reward is 1 Dynamo per block. So if you do the math, it's about 6 months. So once we have 1 million coins in circulation, I feel like there will be enough depth of the holders to have a good sort of diversification without centralization. And then we'll implement staking. The staking is based all on our smart contracts, which is already built. So the concept is there. That will be very easy to implement. But I just didn't want to do it because if we were going to do staking right now, like Dynamo Foundation owns about 70% of the coins, which frankly, I don't really like. So I would like to see a lot more diversification. If we have hopefully 2,000 holders in the next 6 months, that'd be great. And then everybody can stake their coins as they want, and we'll have a lot less centralization. So I was just worried about centralization. That was my only concern.
Right. So for the cryptonauts out there that are listening to this as of June 1st, 2021, this is literally probably a little over 1 week old. This is brand new. So if you're not in this blockchain mining the Dynamo coin, get into it, mine it. It's good to have at least a bag. Just have a bag, just sit on it, think about it, wait for Shaun and Keith to work on it and bring out some high quality products out of that. Now, in regards to the algorithm, Shaun, I noticed that it is ASIC resistant. You purposely designed it that way. Now, why did you do that?
So I'm going to go so far as to say not ASIC resistant, but ASIC proof. Why? Because ASIC mining represents centralization, right? So when there are large entities creating hardware that can dominate the mining community, and those supply chain channels are only available to large entities that can buy all those things, that just leads to circular centralization, right? So we do not want that. We want to have distributed. We want the college kid running a GPU in his basement, those kinds of things, right? Like we want this very decentralized. So I wanted this to be completely ASIC proof. So that it was all about decentralization. That was the impetus for designing the script-based language that the proof of work is based on.
Okay, so I'm still trying to understand how the algorithm works. Is it CPU, GPU only, or what's going on there with the algorithm? How do you mine it?
Yep. So the algorithm is based on a set of instructions, and it's a program that is transmitted to the miner. So you say, do this SHA, do this exclusive OR, do this add. I was very careful to choose operations which are not entropy reducing, right? Because you want to make sure that everything that you run doesn't reduce the entropy in the hash. And so all the operations that the script can run maintain entropy across the entire script. But the key thing is, an update to the script can be done on chain. So if we say, you know what, next Tuesday, everybody change your algorithm, that can be done automatically without any intervention on the system whatsoever. There's no hard fork. There's no agreement among anybody. It just transmits on the chain. And next Tuesday, everybody else starts a different algorithm. So if an ASIC manufacturer comes out and builds something that can mine our coin using our existing algorithm, we can just change it. And we can change it as many times as we want arbitrarily with no hard fork. No other chain can do that.
So it's all built in right from the core.
Right in the core, and it's available today. Yep.
And there's nothing that can be done to make it so that someone else can't. I mean, it's not the foundation that's changing it so much. It's the vote. It's the voters, the people who hold the coin that say, "Hey, we want to change it." Okay, we all decided we want to change it. 90% voted, and it moves.
It's an on-chain voting mechanism that says, here are 4 different arbitrarily created mechanisms that we'll use in the next, let's say, 30 days, right? Pick a date. Okay, everybody votes. Doesn't really matter which one they vote for, and then it just changes. So it's completely random, completely arbitrary, voted on the community. Nobody can predict it. Yep.
And can anyone put that, like, I guess, a Dynamo improvement proposal up?
You don't even have to, because it's proposed by the chain itself.
I see.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it, is the chain, the full nodes are built in to propose it by itself. So gotcha. no person has to do anything. It just happens.
It's nice that you asked that question, Jake, because I spent a lot of time with Shaun trying to understand that whole concept as well. So if you're asking the same question, that's obviously a very important question for the listeners and people that want to understand what Dynamo is all about. So that's good that you asked that. Mike, it looks like you had a question.
Yeah. So if someone wants to start mining Dynamo right now, how would they go about that?
So head over to the GitHub repository. There are CPU and GPU binaries already posted. I will caveat that the GPU miner has a little bug in it that I just discovered a couple days ago. I've been trying to replicate it, and I finally replicated it today. I've just been like super busy on working on the NFT stuff, so I need to fix it. I would love for like other people to come in and, who are programmers. I know exactly what needs to be fixed. I just, I just need to do it. So you can effectively CPU or GPU mine Dynamo today. Go to the GitHub. You can download the binaries. It's all available.
Is that the DYN miner?
It is. Yep. Dyne miner. Yep.
Okay, so I'm looking at it right now, and I'm not seeing any readmes.
Yeah. So there is.
Pardon the ignorance, but
if you look, if you look at our Trello has a little note that says make mining more user friendly or something like that. There is a README. I have taken a couple people through it. One of the reservations that I have about having like wide miner distribution is that the implementation of NFTs, which is happening in literally 10 to 14 days, is going to require a new miner distribution. And so I don't want to like have a whole bunch of people go through the process and then 2 weeks from now, they have to go download another one and coordinating all that stuff, and feeling the frustration. So it is definitely mineable. If you want to, hit me up on Discord, where I'm in the group all the time. I will be happy to hop on, a one-to-one call and help people set it up. But I don't want to have 50 people mining this just because in about 2 weeks it's going to be invalidated.
Okay, that's one of the things I was thinking about was that I wanted to do a video. It's something I've done in the past. I made videos on how to do relatively complex things. I wouldn't say this is complex, but it depends on the user's skill level. But I tend to try to make things really simple for people, and I've got a lot of people to use Docker to do XM rig CPU mining.
Yeah. And I would love to have a Docker image of this. That would be so cool. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I wanted to make basically do another video. I haven't done a video in a while now. John's been getting on my case about that. I haven't made any videos in 2.5 months, but that's because I've been super busy with my farm. But anyways, the point I'm trying to get at is that I like to make instructional videos to help people understand how to do this. And so, of course, the more people are mining, more nodes basically will pop up. And the more I can help, the more it can spread Dynamo throughout the world.
Yep.
I don't have a big channel, but I do like to try to help out where I can. And getting in this early on Dynamo is probably going to be good. From what you said, I already feel, no offense, John, but this could make Raven look a little lacking.
No, dude, I totally want to encourage that. I just don't want to have a lot of stops and starts where people start mining and then it breaks and whatever else. So if you give me just give me 10 or 12 days. I've been promising an instructional video myself, which I feel bad about not making, only because again, the on-chain NFT implementation is really our focus right now. But yeah, I need to get to that. The other thing that I want to get to is implementing pools, and the same thing applies. I want to be able to implement a proof of concept pool. So we'll probably use the NOMP as the proof of concept. We'll say to people, hey, Dynamo Foundation has its own pool. We've implemented this thing. We don't really want to do that. Hopefully a lot of pool operators will come and adopt this, make it better. We just, we'll show you how to make it work. And then you guys take this and make it much better. Because right now, basically every miner is in competition with every other miner, including, by the way, just to get things going, I set up a whole bunch of mining nodes on Amazon. All of my own individual mining nodes are all in competition with each other, right? That's kind of silly. We should have a pool that's securing the chain, and then have multiple pools. So I want to get the pooling going as well before I go crazy on getting 100 miners or whatever else. But absolutely, I really want to support that. So yeah,
gotcha.
Give me 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks, and I'm definitely going to get my shit together on this.
Say, what do you think of John?
Jake, you thinking what I'm thinking?
Sure.
It's time to make that Dyn pool.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna wait till an NFT thing comes out, and then we'll look more at doing it. But at the same time, that what Shaun's been saying about this is making me feel. Not that I hate Raven. I definitely do not hate Raven Coding at all. But I feel like you're solving the problems that I don't think, and I'm not trying to put Tron down, that I don't think he cared about solving. It sounds like Shaun's already trying to well, there's problems with the other things. Let's just solve them. Let's just do it.
I will tell you, and you can look in the Raven Coin chat, and I'm not trying to call them out. I spent a lot of time on the Raven Coin chat trying to get those guys to implement a virtual machine. And they, they wanted nothing to do with it. And they were very hostile to me.
Really?
Oh yeah. It was a very negative experience for me. Not only because their entry point of the nest or whatever they call it is just it's very, very toxic, which I do not. That's really? Oh yeah. If you go into the nest and you try to present a new idea, there's going to be 20 people who are going to just jump down your throat. But they were all just very, very hostile to any sort of contribution. I said, guys, you have not had a GitHub commit in 8 months. Like, what are you doing? Who controls these keys? And they're like, well, Tron, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, like me as a developer, me as a serious developer, you want me to write some code for you guys? I need to know that it's going to get merged into the main thing. And, and Tron holds all the keys. I'm going to tell you, I had a phone call with Tron. I had a personal phone call with him. And I'm like, dude, you need to let this project go. Like this, you gotta let this thing grow and have it be community based. And he's not ready. So okay. I spent a lot of time with the Raven folks because I think they have a lot of opportunity there. But yeah,
yep, I do too. And I posed a lot of questions to Tron, which it felt like he deflected. I'm not trying to say it's an end all be all, but because the community can still vote and make a decision, as almost all coin can. But it just felt like he's like, first question out the gate was, well, what if Raven goes to $1,000? How do we make NFTs then? He's like, well, you better just have a lot of Raven coin.
I better have a lot of money. I'm like, dude, that's not the answer. You need wide. You need wide adoption, and you need a pricing structure that makes sense. And so I took all of my learning. I'm going to tell you, as far as NFTs are concerned, I took all of my learnings from Raven, and I solved that in this. Absolutely. I absolutely did.
It's not. Sorry, John. To again, I'm not trying to take over this podcast by my questioning.
That's fine.
I'm not. How do I put this exactly? It's a question of trying to figure out. Anybody can make blockchain. Anybody can make the function, the series of functions that they want to be on their blockchain, do whatever they want it to do. And okay, that's great. But do you dedicate yourself to a project because you invented it, or because it's the purpose of the project is to be altruistic and to make it better for the world?
Exactly.
Personally, if I were to ever make a blockchain, I thought about it. It sounds like you're already heading in that direction. And I didn't really know about Dynamo as much. John obviously has been posting it all over the cryptocurrency chat forums. He has a channel dedicated to it, and that makes sense. But I didn't really see there's all these new projects coming out. Mike and I have been talking about Chia Coin a lot. And Helium has been a big topic. We've been talking a lot. These kind of neat purposes, ideas. They're single purpose, but they're still unique and very interesting ideas. But what it sounds like Dynamo is not just appropriately named, but very, very dynamic in its sense that it can fit a lot of different purposes. And that is what I was really excited about. So that's probably what you're thinking it is. Now that I get to talk to you, I actually hear this, and I'm glad that we get to discuss this in the podcast.
Absolutely.
But it's striking to me because I was really excited about Ravencoin, really excited about these other coins, but now I'm really feeling a strong sense of excitement about Dynamo, which I did not previously even think about. And now I'm glad, because now I'm going to go tell a bunch of people I know that I've been talking with about Dynamo to say, hey, this project has gargantuan potential. I mean, Mike put it best when he said, if you try to think about how much there is in the crypto space, your head will explode. and just trying to wrap my head around Dynamo, I feel like that already. You're hitting all these points on the head, like, oh, we have this problem, this problem, this problem. I solved all these problems with Dynamo. I'm like, oh god, this thing, your hash graph in Raven kind of look bad.
See, the awesome thing about Dynamo is that we have Shaun, a person that doesn't sleep. He's a developer. He just keeps just pumping out code. That's what I want. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. We love it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. So once again, we're gonna go back to the numbers. You literally stated that Dynamo should start its value at 10 cents, right? That's where it started off at. The first fiat value that's pegged to the Dynamo coin was 10 cents. The first number. It's only been a few days, and it's already pumped to as high as $1.12. So if you're holding a bag of a few thousand coins, which is easy to do, very, very easy to do with the small difficulty rate that we have right now, I'm loving it. I'm going to raise my hand right now. I'm loving it. I'm not going to complain. It's awesome. But yeah, this is just the beginning. 1 week, I can only imagine what things are going to be like closer to the end of the year, or when we do this hybrid proof of work, proof of stake, or just as things move along. And I know with you in the picture and working on this and having all this energy, hopefully you can keep pumping it out. That's awesome. But there's only one of you. And that's where I want to move over to Keith. I'm not quite sure what Keith does with Dynamo, so I want to try to pick his brain, if you don't mind.
And let me just say, because Keith is extremely articulate, but there is much more than one of me, and I do not want to be the one of me, right? There's Vitalik for Ethereum, there's Tron for Raven, there's all those other kind of very centralized things, right? Remember, I hate that, right? Shaun is not Dynamo. I want Dynamo to be a bunch of people, right? And we are hiring people, and we have hired people. I'm going to let Keith speak in 1 second, but I just want to be very clear. Although I may be the genesis of this is not my project. This is everyone's project.
Okay, so I just
want to be very clear about that.
I want to reiterate, you did say those words, we are hiring. Does that mean that you are paying developers out of your own pocket, or do you have a fund from the Dynamo Foundation that's dedicated to paying developers?
I have spent tens of thousands of dollars of my own money to build this. Absolutely. Yes.
So answering the question in regards to paying developers, is that out of your pocket or out of the Dynamo?
My personal funds.
Interesting. Okay.
And I will be happy to show anybody my bank statements, invoices, anything else. Yes, this is my own personal funds.
Interesting.
And I think, John, too, just to jump in and piggyback on what Shaun was saying, I think part of, Shaun's legacy, pedigree, and his history within fintech, a lot of what we wanted to do is to position the coin, very transparently, and give people a real sense of confidence when they did their diligence into Dynamo coin, that they would see that, it was developed by, very reputable people who had a history, who you could look up and, fact check them and LinkedIn them and just see all the printings and just make it very, very accessible and real. So while no, Shaun is not, the sole face of Dynamo coin, there are others supporting him. It definitely is a strong piece of the soul and the identity of the coin.
Keith, so in regards to Dynamo coin, no coin, not just Dynamo coin, no coin out there just sits by itself. It doesn't just have its own marketplace. Every single coin, like for example, CoinGecko, you can see all of the coins on CoinGecko. Where do you think Dynamo Coin sits at in regards to what's very similar to Dynamo Coin? I'm kind of interested in what your thoughts are on that.
Right. We did take a big look at the universe of coins, and I think it was Jake who said it best. You know, there's a lot of similarities to Raven Coin, and there's, you know, other coins out there that we sort of had the ability to step back, look, see what they were doing well and what we could improve upon. I think what you're hitting at is kind of where, you know, a bit of my role in the organization, you know, comes in, where yes, there is a lot of work and foundation work that needs to be done to get Dynamo Coin listed on the exchanges, telling that story, you know, your amazing podcast to help us get the word out, so that, you know, people know about it. We, you know, we've all been around long enough to know you could have the best product in the world, but if people don't know it exists, they can't participate in it. It can't be part of their lives. So that's kind of the goal right now, you know, is to get that word out.
Mike, did you have a question?
No, I was just definitely agreeing to that. You know, yeah, it doesn't matter how good the product is if no one knows it exists. It's not going to get used.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's looking at Samsung spending billions and billions of dollars a year advertising their phones, and who's the most popular? Well, Samsung, of course, because they're spending billions. Even if their products aren't really that great, it's still the most popular thing because they're saying that it's more of a marketing thing than it is is this good?
Yeah.
So
and I, you know, I'm gonna be the first to admit, you know, I'm a nerdy tech guy, and I love programming. I love creating like these really intricate solutions to hard problems, and you know, like I'm very cerebral. And when I try to express myself about why this thing is so cool, people are like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Right? So I think that's why Keith and I are such a great team, is because Keith is like, dude, shut up. Like, don't even talk about that thing. Like people want to know why this is going to make their toast have more butter on it, because they don't give a shit about your proof of work distributed on chain bullshit. Like, what is this thing going to have? So, you know, when you think about Dynamo, think about me as like the nerdy guy sitting in a closet pounding out code, making a really cool product, and think about Keith as the front office guy telling people why this thing is so cool and they need to invest in it. Right? That it's a very powerful combination that not many coins have.
Yeah, and I'm gonna jump in, Shaun, if I could. You know, part of it is that combination. I'm gonna use the word balance, which I'm really a big fan of, because what we've done here is, you know, we have all of these theoretical benefits and attributes, and it makes the coin really special, right? The decentralization of it, the way that it's structured, but it's not only that, right? There's a really powerful utility, use case set coming, and Shaun alluded to that with this NFT launch, but we're doing it in a really special way. So the coin Dynamo will appeal to two different constituencies, right? It isn't just a theoretical thing. It isn't just a utility coin. It really is a beautiful combination of the two.
Without having the silent pause there, Mike and I have been chatting about how to compile for this and for the NFT later. I do agree with you, Keith. It is incredibly important to obviously speak to the geeks. I hate to put it this way, but the nest people within Raven Coin, the geeks who are all enthusiastic about, you know, just the code itself and what the code might be capable of doing, at least from the sense of what its power, you know, how powerful is this? Great. Okay, it's powerful. Just like, you know, command line versus GUI. You can do far more in command line. And it also depends on what you're trying to do. But I wouldn't want to play a video game in command line, although they do exist. I used to do the turn-by-turn games way back in the 80s. Those were fun when you didn't have graphics. But I wouldn't want to play Far Cry or World of Warcraft or Overwatch or something in command line. So the point is making this. What does it do and to whom? I say this to my wife all the time, who's a marriage and family therapist. It would be so easy to sell crap to idiots. It is incredibly easy to do that. My morals don't allow me to do that. So you have to find the right page for the right person. What does this do for the person that needs it to be done? Don't solve a problem that doesn't exist. Solve a problem that does exist. Well, we definitely know that Dynamo will solve a problem that does exist. Okay, what is that problem that people currently have? And I think I do know it from having been an ETH miner and a Ravencoin miner and a Monero miner and all kinds of other. I mean, I've been doing script since it came out, there's more than just the fun of doing something with hardware and making something, making a computer do something fun. That's obviously fun to me. I'm a hardware guy. But does it solve a world problem? Yes, it absolutely does. It actually solves multiple world problems. And how do we tell the public that thing? I think that's what you're trying to get at what Keith is doing. Actually, for Shaun is I'm the geek like Shaun, but I'm also I did SEO for a while. I suck at SEO, but I know there are people out there who know how to do it. And my brother's one of those, actually. He's an SEO guy for Libra Books. If you can get your stuff in front of enough people, even if you have Asperger's like Elon, you can still sell 100,000 Cybertrucks if they ever come out. But anyways, it's just getting the concept in front of people who will need it and want it and say, that's really cool. I'd like to buy that Ford F-150 Lightning for 35 grand, right? So I would love to hear more from Keith. I know this is kind of an introductory thing. I'm going to take this on forever. I'm sorry to bogart this entire this podcast today.
That's fine.
So many questions. Yeah, Keith, awesome. I'm so glad that you're the guy who can interpret the tech to the layperson.
It's really important, Jake. And again, we welcome continued collaboration with you and with John and Mike. Hopefully this is the first in many a series, on the podcast, telling the story, connecting up with folks and, it making it approachable, right? I mean, I think, and all of us have experienced that, right? In the very beginning, your eyes glaze over when you hear blockchain and some people just freeze up, but make it approachable, make those that are intimidated less so, make it, available and unintimidating. And all of a sudden it unlocks, all the magic and promise that, Shaun built into this beautiful thing.
Yeah. So as of right now, it's actually a little complicated for the beginner to get into Dynamo Coin.
We're gonna make it much simpler in the next couple of weeks. So
awesome.
Bringing down the gates, John.
So
yeah.
Awesome. That's what I want to hear.
So you know what? Keith and I are all about removing friction, right? So we want to have a frictionless customer experience, right? So we are creating our own exchange.
What? Kaboom, kaboom. I need sound effects. Come on.
We are creating our own exchange where the Dynamo Foundation will be the counterparty to every buy and sell. People can come onto the website and say, I want to bid or I want to ask. We will match counterparties on the website with Dynamo Foundation as the liquidity provider. And then we will match people off and we will do the buy and we will do the sell. I got sign off from the lawyer. This is 100% legally compliant as long as Dynamo is the counterparty on every transaction. So if you say, I want to buy Dynamo for 67 cents, and somebody else says, I want to sell Dynamo for 69 cents. And then some person comes in and says, we're going to, I want to buy 100 Dynamo at market, then they can buy from the seller. If somebody comes in and says, I want to sell at market, they can buy from the buyer, right? So it all happens. So within the next 2 weeks, you're going to see our website will have a market maker. We are going to be a market maker in our own coin. We'll create our own liquidity.
So you guys are going to be busy in the next 2 weeks. So this is just the
We're always busy. We're always busy. Yeah.
You're going to be no. You guys are handling it very well. I like the way you can control the stress.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that just get burnt out and just cut out, like they can't handle it, and that's where it becomes pretty much a scam coin. I would call it a scam coin. There's some developers that have good intention, but can't excuse me, but can't maintain that momentum, and because they can't keep that momentum going, and they just kind of drop the ball. To me, that's like a scam coin, because you kind of under delivered what you promised, right? But
I'm sorry, I want to add something too, if you don't mind. I've been following a couple of other coins that did these BEP20, things. And Keith and I had a conversation this afternoon, and I said, Keith, there's this coin that did this NFT thing. It was, I felt like it was a scam. They did a pump and dump. They did all the 1 quadrillion tokens, and they burned this. And they had all these people that were promoting this. And I said, Keith, if we did this thing, you and I could collectively probably make about $200,000 off of this sort of thing. And I said, I don't feel like my reputation is, worth splitting a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
And and Keith said, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you saying
that was a quote, John? I said that too, actually, just like that.
Yeah, like, dude, a couple $100,000. Like, I'm serious. Like, Keith and I have literally made millions of dollars together. Like, we do not need to scam people out of 50 or 100 or 200,000. Like, we don't need that. Like, that's not in our ethos. So this project is real. We're not trying to scam people. If we wanted to, we wouldn't even bother, because that's just stupid. Like, we're not those kinds of people. And you can look at both of us on LinkedIn. We're real people. We're not scammers, right? If we wanted to do that we could do that all bullshit, but we're not. So I think that's the bottom line. We're building a real project with real value.
So I had a chance to talk with you many times over the past few months, Shaun, even way before Dynamo Coin came out. And I've always had a liking to you, because you've always been professional all the time. I like the way you conduct yourself every single time in different communities. And now you have Dynamo Coin, and that's why I'm jumping on board with it automatically. I'm like, I can actually raise my hand and finally say, hey, I'm like one of the first people that's on a legitimate blockchain that's doing real stuff.
Yep.
The roadmap is really exciting, John. The roadmap really, really is exciting. And as you alluded to earlier, in the coming weeks and months, it's just going to be transformative and accelerate. And my gosh, it's already June 1st, right? By the end of this year, it's just going to be an amazing ride.
I know. I was telling Shaun that I'm like, this is insane. You're really trying to pump out all this code out in 6 months. This is insane. If you can do it, that's amazing. But that's almost like unbearable. 6 months to put everything that's on your roadmap. That's like, dude, each one of those little parts should take you about a year a piece from what everybody else is doing. And you're saying you're saying you want to squash it in 6 months? That's
I've been programming for 30 years. I've seen everything, and I don't sleep that much. And
30 years.
I've seen, dude, no. I can literally write like 1,000 lines of code a day. This is not a problem. Not a problem.
I don't know what this sleep thing you guys keep talking about is.
So Shaun, you're saying that Dynamo, there's many Shauns, not just you. There's many people for the Dynamo coin community. What are you looking for right now that you're in dire need of to help out the Dynamo community to move forward? I'm talking about manpower. You've already
developers.
But what does that mean? Anybody can say developers. Give me some more specifics.
C++ programmers, man. We need dedicated hardcore C++ blockchain programmers to help move this technology forward. Yeah.
C++. There it is.
Yeah.
Put that on the tweet, Mike. We got to put that on the tweet.
And we will pay handsomely in fiat or Dynamo or anything else. We need C++ developers. Yep.
Awesome. Anything else, Shaun, Keith, that I missed out? You guys want to bring up real quick?
No, man.
I think we hit a lot for an intro. I mean, this is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, this is just the intro. The next one, I definitely want to tell the Cryptonauts out there that the next one, I'm hoping that we can get into actually doing a step-by-step on how to get started with Dynamo Coin.
Definitely.
And hopefully that's in the, you said what? Oh, 2 weeks, maybe 1 week, maybe 3 days.
You know what? Give us 2 weeks, and you will have the ability to upload an NFT, be listed in the NFT marketplace, and buy Dynamo on fiat currency off our website. I think that would be in the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
All right.
So just for clarification on talking about mining earlier, is the ultimate goal to have storage mining, GPU mining, and CPU mining going at the same time? Or is it just CPU now and then transition to GPU?
Well, I mean, CPU mining versus GPU mining is, of course, always a, I don't know. It's kind of an argument, right? So I had a very, you can actually look in the Monero Reddit subreddit about me arguing with those guys why CPU mining is bad, because it is very hard to scale CPU mining from a commercial standpoint, right? So right now, it is possible to CPU mine a Dynamo. I do not expect that CPU mining of Dynamo will be viable for very much longer as the word gets out, and particularly as we create liquidity, right? Like when there is an off ramp where you can mine, where you can GPU mine Dynamo and sell it for fiat, then I think CPU mining will go away. I do not think that CPU mining is a very good idea from a decentralization standpoint, because what you want is commercial entities committing large amounts of capital, right? Like, think about Ethereum, right? Think about me as an Ethereum miner. I spent about $200,000 to buy all my cards, rent a warehouse, commit all that stuff, and then mine Ethereum. That's a long-term investment, right? You don't want a kid in the college dorm just CPU mining, because that's not like a long-term thing. So you want to create this secondary market that says there are commercial entities that can GPU mine your coin, and they're going to invest large sums of money for an ROI as an off-ramp to create that economic incentive, because you need a buy side and you need a sell side. If you don't have any sell side, you're going to have a lopsided economics. Proof of work mining from a commercial standpoint creates that sell side. So I think that GPU mining is a very important aspect of a coin ecosystem.
Couldn't agree more from a farmer myself. So
yeah. I mean, I invested $200,000 in GPU mining, and I won an ROI. And for Ethereum to offer that to me, that creates validation of Ethereum.
Yep.
Right? If Dynamo had the same thing and there was that kind of liquidity, how cool is that? Like that's a whole sub-industry in itself. Super important. Super important.
You're creating value, but you're creating value also in utility. It's not just validation in the sense of, oh, I spent $100,000, bought all this hardware, and now I can mine this stuff and continuously forever. That's one aspect of it. But the furthermore, and this is the thing that bugs me so much about Ethereum. I mean, our farm is probably 95% Ethereum mining. And we do it on the cheap side because I don't want to charge my customers, 10 grand, 20 grand just for one rig. So we're trying to keep it really low. And they're all like, Ethereum. I'm like, Ethereum is, not only is it, I mean, right, the gas price is low now, but it wasn't for a while there.
Right.
But the thing is, it's going to POS.
Yeah.
And when it goes to POS, where do we go? No, we can go to Raven, but the problem with Raven is it's so hard on the miners, it can burn them out. And I don't really want to do that. So I was looking for something like Dynamo to take over, and now I kind of see that I'm looking at the future going, this would probably be a good move here.
I very specifically designed the proof of work algorithm to not burn out mining cards. Why? Because I'm a miner, right? Like what's so funny is like I posted in all these forums, what's the next best thing? Oh, Ethereum. I invested all this money. Frankly, honestly, I already made my ROI. I already made my $200,000 back. But I still wanted to make an ROI. How do I do that without burning out my cards? Create a script-based algorithm that does not cause your card to go to 70 degrees Celsius, right? And that's what I did. So nice. It's very, so this is very important. There's a very important feature of the mining algorithm that it's script-based, and it uses, I would say, less than 10% of the power. So if you look at my card mining Dynamo versus my card mining Ethereum, you're talking about 95 watts versus 10 to 15 watts.
Wow. Yeah, that is impressive. I'm looking forward to checking it out when I get a chance. Not obviously right now, but in the future, because one of the things looking at was I'm serious about overclocking and undervolting to try to get the most efficiency out of this of my customer's rigs.
Of course.
And we've gotten it down to not perfect science, but pretty good. And I like taking, like I said, I like taking it on the low road as much as possible.
Yeah, no, you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to go. Look, if you can do 32 mega hash, but it's at 70 degrees C, or you can do 28 mega hash and it's at 65 C. Like
exactly.
You're gonna you don't want to burn the shit out of it, right?
Yeah, I want the hardware to last as long as possible. Exactly. As long as possible. In fact, it was one of the policies we said was I wanted to buy the cards back from my customers once they wanted to buy it. I'm like, no, we're not selling you your hardware. Yeah, we're buying it from you because I'm keeping this stuff for 10 years.
Exactly. So I very specifically designed, and you can look, I posted a medium article. It's a very highly technical article, but I posted a medium article about low power usage proof of work algorithms and how you design them. And Dynamo, I specifically designed this to be low power usage, and you can see it. On my one card, the fans don't even spin up mostly. Like it doesn't even need to cool the card anymore because it's not using it.
Wow.
It's script based. It's very important. Script based, very important. So.
And Jake, I'm going to jump back in. You had that's the soundbite of the podcast, right? It's all about creating value. It is the opposite of a scam coin. Shaun and his team has been, hyper focused on making sure that Dynamo was a value creator, in all of these different areas for the Dynamo community at large. So that summed it up beautifully.
Yep. Awesome. So, Shaun, last question before we wrap it up, and this is one of those questions. Either it's gonna trigger you in a good way or in a bad way.
I never get triggered.
Win Moon.
Yeah. Honestly,
are you going to be listed on Coinbase or Binance or Hotbit anytime soon?
So we're not so there's NDAs that we have to sign with those exchanges, and so I can't say. Yeah. So when you apply to list with an exchange, you sign an NDA that says you cannot advertise, oh yeah, we're imminently being listed on blah blah blah. So if any coin tells you we are imminently being listed on blah,
Oh, okay.
they're breaking their NDA, and they actually will not be listed on that because those
It's insider
NDAs
trading.
are very explicit about you cannot say anything.
Yeah, it's an NDA thing. I mean, it's a what's it called? Insider trading kind of thing.
It's all insider trading. Now, insider trading doesn't really apply to crypto, but I will tell you that both. Look, I worked on Wall Street for 8 or 9 years. I'm very, very sensitive to all of those insider trading things, and I treat this project as if it was a true security listing. Even though it's not, and I have no obligation to do so, I still do. And so I'm not like, oh, hey guys, you know what? We're gonna go do this thing next week. You better buy. I'm not doing that. Like I'm not giving anybody inside anything, because I think that's scummy. Like that's what all these like moonshot Shibu assholes do, right?
I'm not puppy coin stuff.
Coins,
I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna have my name attached to that. If you go to my LinkedIn,
so the contract says you can't say who you're being listed with, right? Okay. Now, can you tell us if you
don't go there. Just don't go there.
No, I just want to.
We can tell you who we've applied to. Yes, we can tell you who we applied to.
Okay.
Which is many people, including Binance. Yes.
Okay.
So we have applied to many people, including Binance.
Nice.
Yes. But I cannot tell you that we have, any connection with Binance or that we might get listed or not. I cannot say that. No.
Okay. So as of right now, where can the cryptonauts out there buy some, I guess, what, BEP20 tokens?
Yep. So if you want exposure to Dynamo, you can go to the Pancake Swap market. You can get exposure to the BEP20 token. And again, I want to be very, very clear. The BEP20 token is backed one by one to Dynamo mainnet tokens. So if you are buying one Dynamo BEP20 wrap token on Pancake Swap, that will eventually be exchanged for an actual mainnet token. So, and if, there's about, 3,800 or 3,900, something like that out there. If that supply starts to dry up, I am going to personally resupply that with my own treasury and my own money at the market price with any tokens that we need. So if that 3,900 starts to dry up and it goes to like 1,000, I'm going to put another, 2,000 or 3,000 in there at the market rate from my own money. So yes.
Wow.
If there is, we will definitely meet the demand. Yep.
You're going over and beyond with this. This is amazing. It's amazing.
This is very legit. Yep.
All right. Keith Carpentier, Shaun, Neal, gracias. Thank you for being on the podcast. This is just the beginning of the Dynamo coin. You can go to dynamocoin.org to check it out, see what it's all about. You can check out the white paper, all the things in regards to the community, the Dynamo tokenomics. If you want to get into mining, Shaun is saying wait about 2 weeks, but if you can get into it now, get into it now. That's what
hit me up on Discord and I'll show you how to do it. I will personally show you how to do it. Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So with that said, Shaun, Keith, thank you. Until next time.
Thanks, man.
Stacks, sats, and HODL.
Awesome.
Adios.